This is carpet that came from my father-in-law's house. They're putting new carpet in. It is not moldy carpet. It is not bad carpet. It's just carpet that they decided to replace. And this is going to be my mulch on my garden next year. I'm going to cut it into strips for the paths. And then that way I won't have to put sawdust down. Now the pro of that is that I don't have to add expensive mulch. And it will still protect things like earthworms, and it will hold moisture in. And instead of being like normal black plastic, it will let moisture in and hold weeds down at the same time because it's porous. Sorry, kitty. The bad thing is that when you add mulch to your soil, it increases your fertility. This will not increase fertility. It'll just keep weeds down and give us a mud-free path. So there's the duality there. In a perfect world, I would constantly be putting mulch on my garden, but at 5,000 square feet, it's a lot of garden to keep mulch on and keep it economical. I have my name on lots of tree company lists for free mulch, but I haven't been able to get any free mulch in several years. I've had to buy it, and it cost me $100 to buy the load from the sawmill, which is about 2 miles down the road, but it cost me another $100 to get it delivered here by the dump truck full. So I spend $200 for a big dump truck full of sawdust. I think it's totally worth it, but I could literally put $1,000 worth of sawdust on my garden a year and still need more, which is not economical to my way of thinking. This year I will be putting the goats in the garden and then feeding them their alfalfa hay while they're in the garden, and that should bring a lot of fertility and carbon into the garden that will later be tilled in as we've done for the last 2 years. So super excited about the carpet. This time of year the ducks are more shy, and the reason for that is that we have just... Okay, I think you went a little bit too fast, honey. This time of year we have just done a lot of butchering. The ducks are aware. Yeah, go slow. Just go super, super slow. There you go. So they know people make them disappear. I gotta move away so they'll come back. You're so noisy. All right, good morning, guys. So I'm in front of the garden, just on a different side than normal. We have put the geese, the ducks, and the turkeys in the front in the garden. And the reason for that is that we have little girls harvesting the potatoes, and they're getting eaten alive by gnats. Some kind of gnat that really gets disturbed when the soil gets disturbed. Hi, guys. Let's see if I can put this down just a little bit so you can see them. There's the turkeys. We have 3 left. We butchered the rest. And these guys are still juveniles. They're not as aggressive as they will be later in life. And right now they're kind of bonded to people. So until we had people come out, they were being pretty noisy. They're not too bad now. The ducks and the geese out there are super happy. We haven't let them in the garden at all this year. The turkeys were able to come into the garden this year, but we didn't let our waterfowl in. No, you gotta hold still. You hold still. You hold still. Let me move the camera. And now they think they get picked up.
There you
Yummy. Okay.
Yeah.
So what they're eating right now is slugs, bugs, weeds, and we're gonna take their pond up there. Thank you, kitty. So glad you can bump my camera. We're gonna take the pond up there so that they have their food and their pond. This right here is going to be the little goat greenhouse. Oh, get back in. All right. So I am in the middle of putting together a cow panel fence, which will keep goats in and anything else I want to put in there in. It's taking me some time. I'm having to salvage supplies from other parts of the property because cow panels are super expensive. When I bought them last spring, they were, I think, $25 a panel. Now they're $33 a panel, and they're set to jump in price again before the end of the month. So again, I'm salvaging rather than buying new. I kind of want to show you my pretty Tom over here. Hi, pretty Tom. You're looking magnificent. You're looking like magnificent Tom. All right, there we go. Now I'm in front of where I'm usually standing in front of the garden. We have all but a few stalks of corn down. Sunflowers are down. The girls just harvested 1 row yesterday. We have 2 more to go. Again, they're getting eaten alive by gnats. So I brought the ducks. The ducks have pretty much kept the grass and the bugs down in the whole rest of the property. So this is virgin soil for them right now. They've got deep mulch system, lots of bugs, lots of weeds to eat. I hope they're really happy here. I hope they're really happy here, and I also hope that it cuts down on my feed bill a little bit. They might nip at some of the vegetables that are still in the garden, like the Swiss chard or the beets, or even the potatoes. All right, so what you see the turkeys getting up on right now, that is a pallet shelter that will have a greenhouse top so that it's a little warmer during the day, and it will hold the wind off at night. We will do a deep mulch system in the bed, so as the goats poop, we'll put more carbon on and it'll heat up the floor, so that'll also keep them a little bit warmer. That took me only a couple hours to make, and I used hog panels over the top instead of cow panels. All right, so what's left to harvest in the garden? Kitty, stop. No, you're on the tripod. Stop. Go. Okay, so what's left in the garden is Swiss chard, beets, potatoes, carrots, onions. I feel a little bit of a loss as far as, like, there's so much still to get in. I don't know where to put it. I don't have anywhere left to put potatoes right now, or anything else really. And so I'm trying to take one day at a time, put things where they can go until I have a better place for them. I am hoping to have enough panels to finish all sides, but I think that I may be short by 3 or 4, which is nice. That's like $100 worth of panels. And I need to go get T-posts, and then I feel like I can let the goats in and I can start feeding them their hay, and their hay and their manure will start to fertilize and mulch the garden. And then next year, instead of having the whole garden rototilled or tilled, I'm going to use the rototiller in strips and move the mulch away a little bit. That's what I'm planning on. We'll see if that's what happens. Okay, maybe they won't notice that nope, they haven't noticed. Every time I move, the ducks move. This is the alfalfa hay we feed to the goats, the sheep, the pigs, and the rabbits. If I can get enough of this in stock, then the animals won't starve in the winter, even if we don't have bagged feed. Hard to show what I'm trying to show. Alright, so this is the garden. The goats have done a great job cleaning up all the weeds. We really like to use deep mulch in the garden, but sawdust is $200 a load.
that's a garbage truckload, a dump truckload, but on a garden that's 5,000 square feet, that's still not enough, because you have to constantly be putting it on. So this year, what we've done is I have the goats out here in the garden. I've totally fenced in the garden, built them a shelter, and we've got their water up on a pallet so that they're not getting their feet wet. We have their hay in a hay net so they're not wasting as much. And oh my gosh, we've got almost a week out of one bale of hay, where before they were going through a bale of hay maybe a day between all the animals. So the goats have eaten down all the Swiss chard. They've eaten down most of the weeds. There's a few weeds that they haven't. They're not huge fans of the pigweed at this point, but it just gives them something to nibble on and browse on. And I'm going to leave them here until I plant this garden. And this garden doesn't get planted until like the middle of April. So we'll have plenty of little weeds that will have started to come up by the time they're out of here and back on their back pasture. It'll give their back pasture a chance to have a rest from the goats. I don't graze my goats all winter out there because it's hard on the grass, it's hard on the vegetation in the pasture. The other nice thing about this is that as we move the hay net down, everything is being manured, peed on. A little bit of hay from the hay net falls on the path and mulches it. It's almost $100 to have our garden rototilled nicely. And I couldn't afford more horse manure or cow manure last year. And I really like to have good beneficial bacteria in my soil instead of just chemical fertilizer. Those are trumpeter swans. Can you hear them? I wonder if you can see them. We've had a lot of them coming through lately. All right, so this is a hay chicks hay net. And originally we got it for our horse when we were in Tulsa because we thought she was fat and the vet didn't preg check her. She was pregnant. So we actually never really used it very much. But this year we've put our hay in the hay nets and it's saved so much waste. There's a little bit of waste here that just came out of the bottom of the sled. And so, but there's a lot more buildup right here than from where the sled had to be dumped because we needed to use the sled for something else. Now, the goats have figured out how to make a little bit of a mess and a little bit of waste with the hay, even with the hay net, but it's loads different than it was before. Before we'd have sticks and alfalfa on the ground and it would build up and it would make me cry because hay is very expensive. So right now they're going about 5 days on a bale, and we're getting, how much milk are we getting? We're getting 1.5 gallons of milk a day, milking once a day. We only milk in the mornings, we get 1.5 gallons, so each one is giving us about a 0.5 gallon of milk a day. You can see just how well they have cleaned everything up. There's very, very little weeds left. There's a little bit of stumpage from the sunflowers and less stumpage from the corn because they went back through and ate a little bit more of the corn. But other than that, they've really cleaned it up nice. If at this point, I'm trying to decide that at this point if I want to put down cardboard and some old carpet from my father-in-law's house. I got a lot of materials from my father-in-law. It's lovely. He's very generous. They just pulled out old carpet, put in new carpet. And so what I kind of want to do is put down cardboard and then strips of carpet down the rows. But if I do that, it means I can't add any more mulch. I can't actually feed the garden by putting stuff on top because the carpet is not biodegradable, and once it's in place I need to leave it in place. I can't put the carpet in now because then the goats will manure on it. Oh, hold on, let me show. Wait. Okay, so this is how Kaya does water. We do not fill up their water container all the way. She gives them about 2 gallons twice a day. Is that about right?
Let me see how much is in here. At least 3.
3 gallons twice a day?
At least, yeah.
Okay, so the goats are giving us 1.5 gallons of milk a day, so they need plenty of water. So Kaya brings out hot, clean water from the house. It goes in here, and the reason we don't fill it all the way up, is because in cold weather it'll freeze in there, and there won't be enough room for us to put new hot water.
Guys, all right, with all baby birds, they are going to be able to eat their food better if it's damp. So these are their pellets with a little water in them so that they powder. And this works really well for all the animals that are kind of adolescent, is to put it in a container of water, because if they try to eat the food dry, it sticks in their craw. They can't get it down. Even turkeys, if they're eating dry food, they need water the whole time. If they're eating grasshoppers, the grasshoppers come with their own moisture, and then there's the moisture from the plants that they're eating. And so that's why they don't have to have moist food if they're eating live food like grasshoppers. This is Paige teaching the turkeys how to catch grasshoppers. So she'll go catch a grasshopper and then she'll call the turkeys. But for right now, the turkeys are pretty good. They'll find and eat flies or ticks or ants, but their favorite is grasshoppers. So you can see our leaves are pretty clear. We've got a little bit of predation here. You can see the holes in the beets. But that's why we have the turkeys up here, is they will go through and look for the grasshoppers. I don't have the turkeys out here in the garden until things are knee-high. The reason for that is they will eat and disturb really young vegetation, but this stuff is harvesting size. So the vines already have fruit on them. The beets are already beets at the bottom. Oh, do you see that one? Oh, yep. Is he gonna go for it? Did he find it? Once we get all of them up here, it's pretty fun to watch.
We're just barely getting started, so.
Yeah, we've got 7 little turkeys. We've only got 3 of them up here. You get it?
Yep.
We got a treat. You want me to show the camera? Hold, no, you gotta hold still. You hold still. You hold still, let me move the camera. And now they think they get picked up.
There you go.
Yummy. Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks a little dry. We haven't been able to afford more sawdust. Sawdust here, if you can't get it free from tree companies, it costs $200 for me to get a big load. And I decided not to spend the money after I used up the last bit. So we've been mulching with weeds. We pull the weeds and lay them down, or I come with the weed whacker.
Got another one.
Got another one?
Half the size.
But just because I've got weeds in the path doesn't mean I've got a lot of weeds in the beds themselves. It doesn't mean we can't harvest from them. It just means we're not stressed out about it being picture perfect. The way that we have success in the beginning is that with anything that has a lot of space between it, like potatoes that haven't come up yet, I plant Swiss chard, and the Swiss chard doesn't bolt very easily. So what we do is, as the potatoes get bigger, we come through and we harvest all the Swiss chard and we feed it to the rabbits, or we eat it ourselves. And that way it keeps the weeds from coming back up. Taking cuttings from the Swiss chard feeds us and feeds the rabbits, but it also makes more space for the potatoes. So all these rows had Swiss chard in them, but most of it's come out now. Beets, potatoes, carrots, onions. Kitty, stop. Stop, 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 stop. Stop trying to climb on the tripod. Okay, so those are the things that we have left. The kids are in the middle of getting them harvested, and I'm allergic to cats, but oh my gosh, he wants to be on the tripod. Stop, 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 stop. You want down? Okay. All right, hopefully he'll leave the tripod alone.